The child woke to fire in the sky and sand in her mouth. For a long heartbeat, she did not remember her name. Only the roar of engines fading and the taste of fear. Then memory crashed back over her like a wave. Her name was Liora. She was 8 years old, and she had been sent here to suffer. She pushed herself up on shaking hands. The desert around her stretched in every direction. A sea of gold and dust under a blazing sun. Her pod lay behind her, half buried, still smoking. Its dark metal already too hot to touch. Above, the sky of this planet was a deep, endless blue. Much too gentle for a world her people had called a prison. Liora swallowed. Her throat burned. Her white-blue skin tingled in the harsh light. The wind tugged at her rough brown cloak, the only protection they had given her. Her ears still rang with the last words of the council. You are a defect. You feel too much. You question our orders. You showed mercy to an enemy. For this you will be sent to Earth. You will learn what kindness really costs there. They had spoken of Earth with cold satisfaction. A violent world, they had said. A world of greedy, brutal creatures who hurt the weak. A place where an alien child would be hated. Liora stared at the endless desert and whispered in a cracked voice. So this is the world where they will break me. Far away, shadows moved against the bright horizon. Tiny dark shapes walking across the plains. Humans. Her heart pounded. She remembered the warning. Humans will use you. Humans will fear you if they see you. They will either kill you or lock you in a cage. The shapes grew clearer. A truck rolled slowly over the rough ground, followed by a small cloud of dust. Figures walked beside it, long coats snapping in the wind. Liora's fingers curled into the dry soil. She wanted to run, but there was nowhere to go. Only sand and rock and the sky with nowhere to hide. She thought of the council chamber, cold and silver, of the faces looking down at her with disgust. She thought of the one thing she had done wrong, the moment that had changed everything. She had refused to fire on a ship of wounded enemies. She had cried instead. She had shouted "No" in front of everyone for that one word. They had called her weak. Now the humans were closer. The truck's engine growled. A man's voice shouted something in a language she had only studied in quiet. Lessons. Not enough to feel safe, just enough to understand that she was very, very alone. Liora staggered to her feet. Her legs trembled. The world swayed. She had not eaten since before her trial. Her head throbbed with heat. Still she raised her hands. Green eyes wide. Stay away, she tried to say. The words came out broken and small. Please, stay away. The truck braked with a low, rough cry of metal. The engine fell silent. Dust drifted between them like smoke. A man stepped down first, tall, sunburned, with dark hair tied back in lines at the corners of his eyes. His clothes were worn but clean. A woman came after him, a scarf around her hair, her gaze sharp and careful. Behind them, a teenage girl leaned out from the truck, brown hair in a loose braid, eyes full of curiosity. A little boy peered over the side, his hands gripping the edge so tight his knuckles were white. Daniel, the woman said softly. Do you see that? Is that a child? It is. The man answered. His voice was low, steady. He looked at Liora the way a person might look at a wild animal, wary but not cruel. Liora tried to make herself look dangerous. She straightened her thin shoulders. Her large ears lifted. Her eyes glowed faintly green in the bright light. On her world, her gaze alone could make grown soldiers step back. Here, the human girl only whispered. Amazed, she is beautiful. The word hit Liora like a shock. Beautiful, not monster, not defect. Daniel lifted his hands slowly, palms open. We are not here to hurt you. He called in careful, clear English. My name is Daniel. This is my family. Are you hurt? The sound of his voice carried a warmth she did not understand. It made her chest ache. She shook her head even as her knees buckled. The ground rushed toward her. Heat swallowed her vision. She heard the girl shout, heard running feet. Then everything went dark again. When Liora woke the second time, the world smelled different. Not like dust and burning metal, but like clean cloth and water. And something warm and salty. Her eyes opened to a dim room, painted in soft colors. Sunlight slanted through a small window. She lay on a bed, wrapped in a blanket that scratched but also felt strangely comforting. Her cloak had been loosened at the neck, her boots removed. A cool cloth rested on her forehead. For a moment panic flared. She pushed herself up, ears twitching. Her heart hammered against her ribs. "Easy," a gentle voice said. "You are safe here." The teen girl sat in a chair beside the bed. Her name, Liora, remembered from the ride, was Sarah. She had stayed close. Asking questions Liora could not answer. Smiling when Liora finally whispered her name. Now Sarah's eyes shone with relief. "You are awake," she said. "I was so worried." The word was strange and heavy. Liora studied her. Sarah had the same dark eyes as Daniel, but softer, quick to fill. With feeling. "Where am I?" Liora asked. Her voice rasped. "You are in our home. Close to the edge of the desert, my dad found you. You almost passed out in his arms. We could not just leave you there. You almost passed out in his arms." On Liora's world, a soldier who collapsed would be dragged away without a glance here. This family had carried her into their home. "Why?" Liora whispered. "Why did you bring me here?" "You do not know me." Sarah blinked, confused. She leaned closer, speaking softly. "Because you are a child, because you were alone, because you looked so scared, that was enough." Kindness. The council had described humans as cruel. They had shown Liora images of wars, crimes, shouting crowds. They had never shown her a girl pressing a cool cloth to an alien child's forehead. The door opened and Daniel stepped in, followed by the woman, Elena, and the little boy, Jonah. Jonah clutched a small stuffed animal in his hand. He peeked at Liora from behind his mother's leg. Daniel smiled, the corners of his eyes crinkling. "How are you feeling?" he asked. Liora swallowed, looked from face to face, searching for the trap. "I do not understand you," she said. "I mean, I understand your words, but I do not understand your actions. You were supposed to hate me." The room grew quiet. Elena exchanged a look with Daniel. "Who told you that?" Elena asked. Her voice had steel under its softness. "My people," Liora said. Her throat tightened. "They said humans are dangerous. They said you hurt those who are different. They sent me here because they think this world is punishment." Jonah stepped forward before anyone else could answer. His small voice was clear and stubborn. "Punishment is when you do something bad." He said, "You did something bad." Liora felt shame burn hot in her chest. She nodded. "I refused an order." She said, "They told me to destroy a ship. There were wounded people on it. I could hear them crying over the channel. I could not do it, so I said nitrogen monoxide. They called me weak. They said if I love mercy so much, I should try it on Earth." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "You refused to hurt people," she said, "and they punished you." Daniel let out a breath. He moved closer, his hands still open. "On this world," he said quietly, "many of us would call that courage, not weakness. You did something hard and kind at the same time. That is not a thing to be ashamed of. That is something to be proud of." Liora stared at him. The word proud felt like a warm light on skin that had only known cold. "But your people," she said slowly, "they have hurt each other too. I have seen your wars, your anger." Daniel nodded. He did not look away. "It is true," he said. "Humans have done terrible things. We have hurt each other in our world, but that is not all we are. We are also the hands that pull someone out of the sand, the voices that say you are safe, the hearts that choose kindness when fear would be easier." Elena sat on the edge of the bed, careful not to touch Liora without permission. "You were sent here expecting monsters," she said. "Maybe you found a family instead." The word family made Liora flinch. It was the one thing she longed for and believed she did not deserve. From far above the desert, unseen by human eyes, a silent machine watched. In orbit, the council vessel floated like a dark star. Inside, Warden Kell studied the images on his screen. He saw Liora in the human house. He saw the way they moved around. Her, adjusting pillows, bringing her water, speaking gently. He frowned. His long fingers tightened around the edge of the console. This is not how Earth is supposed to be. He muttered, they should fear her. They should cage her. She should be begging to come back by now. Another counselor, gray-eyed and cold, stepped up beside him. Give it time, she said. Humans always show their true nature in the end. They are selfish, violent. It is only a matter of days. Kel watched as the human boy placed his stuffed animal carefully near Liora's pillow, as if offering a shield. The alien child looked at it in wonder, then at the boy. Her lips formed a word. Thank you. Kel switched off the sound. The shape of gratitude on her mouth made his chest ache, though he would never admit it. On the surface, days passed. Liora grew stronger. She learned the way the house creaked when the wind rose at night. She learned the names of things. Table, window, sky, storm. She learned the sound of Elena humming while she cooked. The way Daniel stared at the news with a frown. The way Sarah laughed with her whole body and had to wipe her eyes after. She learned that Jonah snored softly when he fell asleep on the couch, his head on her shoulder. Each night Liora lay awake on her narrow bed, staring at the ceiling, her chest full, her mind racing. This is not punishment, she would think. This is something else. Something my people do not have a word for. Kindness. One afternoon, Daniel came home later than usual, his shoulders heavy. Elena met him at the door. Their voices drifted down the hallway to where Liora sat drawing at the table with Jonah. They are talking in town, Daniel said. His voice was low, troubled. Someone saw the truck the day we brought her in. People are asking questions. Government officials came by the station. They say something fell from the sky that day. They want to make sure everything is under control. Elena went very still. They will come here, she said. Liora felt the air in the room thicken. Jonah looked up at her with wide eyes. Will they take you away? He whispered. Sarah came in from the back door. Dust on her shoes. She had heard enough. Her jaw set, a flash of fierce light in her eyes. They will not take her, Sarah said. She is with us. She saved lives on her world, and they punished her. We will not let them do it again. Leora's heart twisted. I cannot let you risk yourselves, she said quickly, standing up. If your people are afraid of me, they might hurt you too. I will leave before they come. I survived the desert once. I can do it again. No, Elena said. The single word cut through Leora's panic like a blade. Elena stepped closer, her gaze steady. You are not a burden, she said. You are not a problem to get rid of. You are a child, and you are under our roof. That means you are our responsibility. Our guest, our family. Family means we stay, Sarah added. We face things together. Daniel rubbed his face with both hands. He looked tired. But when he lifted his head, there was a quiet strength in his eyes. If they come, he said, we will tell them the truth. That we found a child alone, and we did what any decent person should do. If they want to call that a crime, they will have to look our children in the eye when they say it. In orbit, Warden Kel listened to the human family through hidden microphones. His mouth felt dry. Why? He whispered. Why would they risk themselves for her? On the day the officials arrived, the sky was a hard, clear blue. A convoy of dark vehicles rolled up the dusty road toward the house. Dust rose behind them like a warning. Liora stood in the living room, her hands shaking. Sarah squeezed one of them. Jonah held the other. Remember, Jonah whispered. You are brave. Daniel opened the door. Two officers stepped inside, dressed in dark uniforms. Their clothes were crisp, their faces serious but not cruel. A third person followed. A woman in a plain suit with a badge clipped to her jacket. Her eyes were sharp but not cold. Mr. Reyes, she said. My name is Dr. Hadley. We are here because something fell from the sky near your property some days ago. We have reason to believe it may have been of non-human origin. Her gaze slid past him and stopped on Liora. Silence stretched. Everyone could hear Jonah's quick breathing, Sarah's heart pounding like a drum. Liora stepped forward before fear could root her feet to the floor. She lifted her chin. "I am the one you are looking for," she said. Her voice trembled but did not break. "If you must take someone, take me. My family did nothing wrong." The word family felt like a banner she dared to raise at last. Dr. Hadley's brows rose slightly. "Your family," she repeated. "Yes, Liora," said. She moved so that she stood in front of Daniel and Elena and the children. A small shield with two large eyes. "They found me in the desert. They saved me. They fed me. They showed me kindness even though I am not human. If there is a punishment, it should fall on me alone." Daniel took a step around her, not letting her carry the moment alone. "We did what any decent human would do," he said firmly. "We found a child, we helped her. If that makes us criminals, then something is deeply wrong with our laws," Sarah released Leora's hand only so she could speak with both of her own. "You cannot take her like an object," she said, her voice shaking with anger. "She is a person. She has a name. She has already been punished by her own people for being kind. Are we going to punish that again?" For a long moment Dr. Hadley simply looked at them. Her gaze lingered on Leora's ears, her eyes, the faint glow in her skin. Then she looked down at Jonah clutching her sleeve, at Elena standing firm though fear flickered in her eyes, at Daniel's steady jaw, at Sarah's fierce stance in orbit. The council watched too, through the eyes of their machines. Many of them leaned forward, hungry for the moment humans would turn cruel, expecting the blow, the betrayal, the proof that Earth was the savage world they had always described. Dr. Hadley drew in a slow breath. "Technically," she said at last, "protocol would require that any non-human life form be taken into government custody for study and containment." Liora felt the floor tilt. Her hands went cold. She almost reached for Sarah again, but stopped herself. But Hadley continued, her voice changing. "I am also a human being who can see what is directly in front of her, and what I see is a frightened child in need of protection, surrounded by a family who has chosen compassion over fear. I will not tear that apart without a very good reason. And I do not see one here." Daniel's shoulders sagged with relief. Elena closed her eyes briefly, murmuring something under her breath. Jonah grinned so wide it almost split his face. Sarah laughed through sudden tears. Liora could not move. "You mean," she whispered, "you will let me stay?" "For now," Dr. Hadley said. "Under supervision, we will have to talk about your health, your abilities, how to keep you and everyone else safe. But I am not here to punish kindness. I am here to understand it, to work with it. If your presence on Earth began as a punishment, perhaps we can choose to make it something else. Maybe even a blessing." In the council vessel, angry voices rose. "This is unacceptable." One counselor snarled, "The experiment is compromised. Humans were supposed to reveal their cruelty." Yet even as they argued, others watched the screen in silence, their thoughts troubled. Warden Kell stared at Liora, at the humans around her, at the way she smiled through tears as Jonah flung his arms around her waist, at the way Daniel shook Hadley's hand with gratitude, at the way Sarah pulled Liora close as if she were a sister. Cal closed his eyes briefly. An old memory rose, of a time he had reached out to comfort someone and been slapped away for his weakness. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "we misunderstood this world." Down on Earth, as evening fell and the desert cooled, Liora stepped out onto the small porch. The sky burned orange and pink. The first stars pricked the darkening blue. Somewhere high above, her people watched, waiting for her to break. She wrapped her cloak tighter around her shoulders, Daniel's spare sweater soft underneath it. Sarah came to stand beside her, their shoulders almost touching. "You know they might call you again," Sarah said quietly. "Your people, they might come back for you." Liora nodded. Her green eyes reflected the first star. "I know," she said. "Maybe they will come with anger. Maybe they will come with questions. Maybe they will ask why I did not beg to return. What will you tell them, Sarah? Asked. Liora's answer came without hesitation. I will tell them the truth, she said, her voice steady now. I was sent here as punishment. I was supposed to find hate. I found something stronger. I found human kindness, and it changed me. She looked at the lighted window where Alina moved in the kitchen, where Jonah danced with his stuffed animal, where Daniel sat at the table with Dr. Hadley, talking quietly about the future. It might change them too, Liora whispered. If they are brave enough to see it. The wind rose, warm and gentle, carrying the sense of sand and food and home. Liora lifted her face to the sky. For the first time, she said softly, almost to herself, I am not afraid of what comes next. Sarah smiled, her eyes shining. Whatever happens, she said, you will not face it alone. Liora reached for her hand. Together, she said, tasting the word like something new and sweet. We face it together.